I cannot tell you what it's like to see you again here, actually in Pine Valley.
The old past was out of its grave.
Oh, with a bunch of memories standing right behind it.
I drove out to Wildwind earlier today, and it was totally shut down.
Well, after Caleb left town, Sam and Maddie really weren't interested in renting it again. Do you still stay in touch with them?
No. After Alex and I divorced, I sort of drifted off away from everyone. While I was out at Wildwood, I went down to the family mausoleum, and I made my amends to Edmund. Seems like so many lifetimes ago, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Well, some of us are still hanging in there.
You're doing more than just hanging in there. You look beautiful.
Oh, you're always such a charmer. I didn't ever think when I sent that email that you would actually show up in person. I didn't.
Your timing was perfect. Europe was starting to bore me. I need to get out of my shell. So, this proposition, tell me about it.
Well, with Adam traveling so much, he's put me in charge of Chandler, and we want to make a big push into online media. And I am looking for someone who can head up the new division. Someone who has talent, who has a spine, and who has instincts to make it a success. Someone like you.
Why would the woman who made such a success of Tempo magazine need someone to run the media division for her? You're obviously more qualified than I am.
Oh, thank you for the compliment. It's not just Chandler. I have my hands full. I don't know if you heard about JR coming out of his coma.
How is he?
Actually, he's pretty good shape, and seemingly a very different person, and seemingly contrite. But he does want to get back into the family business.
And you don't want to let that happen?
No, and neither does Adam. But with Adam traveling so much, trying to rebuild his company that JR has made a mess of, I'm here. I'm flying solo. So I need somebody who can not only build the division, but head it up, and someone I can trust who can also keep a very close eye on JR at all times.
Kara practically trampled over me running out of the room.
I am not afraid of spiders, okay? But this one was the size of a small car. I'm serious.
Yeah, I'm lying on the ground. Thing's coming right at me. I mean, thank God for the free weight in my hand. You know, it's like half a dozen dents in the floor, but I think I got
Oh, hi, everyone. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just came to pick up some paperwork. Kara, hi.
Hi, Brooke.
JR, you remember Dimitri Marick, don't you?
Oh my God. Dimitri. It's been a long time.
Yes, it has. It's
Good
good
to see you.
You too, JR.
Hey, this is Dr. Kara Castillo, my son AJ.
Doctor, AJ?
So what are you in town visiting?
Actually, I was trying to convince Dimitri to move back to Pine Valley to help out with Chandler Media.
Yeah, we've just sort of been hashing out some ideas about that.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you'll do a really great job.
I hope you'll excuse us. Let's go to the den. I want to show you what we're up to so far.
All right. A pleasure to meet you both.
Well, Dimitri always was a clever man. I'm sure he'd be a great addition to the company. Added bonus feature, he can walk without falling flat on his face.
Well, I think it's ambitious, even at the edge of audacity, but I did not expect anything less.
Worth you staying in Pine Valley for?
Yes, very much worth it. Start with the day that Hayward arrived in prison. You know, what was his mental state? Was he resigned to stay? Or was he ready to fight the conviction even then?
And how did he go from an attempted murder conviction to the invention of a true medical breakthrough?
Was it driven by a culmination of losses in his own life, or Was it that immediate tragedy that sent him to prison?
Oh, well, I think that would bring the interview to a dead halt.
Brooke, I've never known you to be shy. And David, he's anxious for the whole world to hear his side.
Oh, he's more than anxious. You know, if there's a platform for him to state his case, David Hayward will climb on top of it.
Who's David Hayward climbing on top of now? Oh, so this is our new talk show.
Yes, this is the new Chandler Media Enterprise venture. Dimitri. I don't believe you met Dimitri Marick. Dimitri, this is Colby Chandler, Adam's daughter.
Well, you're very beautiful as your mother.
Did you sleep with her too?
Oh, Colby.
You know my mom. It's a legit question.
Well, your mother and I were business adversaries, and that was all we were.
Wait, I remember you. Aren't you that count? The one who left Pine Valley to go to some gothic Eastern Bloc country?
Yes, and he came back because I asked him to be Talk Tempo's executive producer.
Seriously, you brought on some Eurotrash royalty to take on a Chandler Media project?
I asked the best person for the job, and lucky for me, he said yes.
Okay, and God forbid you put a Chandler in that position.
Colby, you and I both know that JR is not strong enough to handle a job right now. He needs to concentrate on getting his strength back.
Hello, JR is not the only Chandler in town.
Your father would be thrilled if you took a job here, and I'm sure there's any number of entry-level positions that would match your qualifications.
Actually, I could use another assistant. If you could learn a little respect.
It would be a perfect opportunity for you to learn the job from the ground up. Interested?
Are you kidding me? That is so a hell no.
How did it go with Colby after I left you two?
Oh, well, thanks for that, by the way.
I just figured you could deal with her, her intensity better than I could.
Well, she's quite a handful. I think, though, she calmed down a little bit because I was able to convince her that I just had her best interests at heart. And you know what? She even agreed to try her hand at low entry-level production.
Well, that's great. That's good.
You think so?
You don't?
Well, what you see with Colby is not what you get. You know, she has a mind of her own.
Oh, that sounds like someone else I know.
So you did agree to no restrictions on questions asked? Just want to make sure that we're clear on that.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward for the chance to tell my side of the story.
I got it. Thanks.
I'll be at the podium. Give him hell.
And we go in 5, 4, 3.
Good morning. I'm Brooke English. This is Talk Tempo. Today, we're talking to David Hayward, controversial former heart surgeon, recently released from prison after serving his time for attempted murder. A man determined to turn his life around with a new medical device that he promises will change the face of medicine forever. But when is it too late to reinvent yourself? And how far do you go in the wrong direction before it's too late to turn around? We'll find out when we come back. Only a few weeks ago, you were released from prison on parole after serving your sentence for the attempted murder of J.R. Chandler.
Even though J.R. Chandler is the one who should have been serving time, he is the reason why my daughter was shot and killed.
I am sorry about your daughter. But it's not the first time that you have run into trouble with the Pine Valley Police. Shortly before the tragedy that occurred 5 years ago, you were indicted for conducting unauthorized medical experiments on human subjects.
All those charges were dropped, Brooke. Now, is there a point to these reminders of my dark past, or are you just trying to depress me?
Didn't like that one, did you, David?
you've been given this new lease on life to start anew, you would come back to a place that holds so many negative memories for you.
But ultimately, this is my home. And as the other old saying goes, there's no place like it.
And yet you've
It's
alienated
also important to
people here.
remember that this is also the scene of a great many triumphs of mine. I was a cardiac surgeon right here at Pine Valley Hospital for many years. I had the great privilege of serving this community throughout those years. And in so doing, I saved the lives of countless citizens of this community. Among them, the famous Erica Kane, along with several members of her family, just to name a few. So I guess it only felt natural for me to want to start my life over right here in Pine Valley. And as it turns out, that was a great decision. I've already partnered with Peter Cortland to help revive his family's electronic business. With my help, Cortland Electronics is poised to become the leading manufacturer of medical devices in the country. That endeavor alone is bound to bring countless employment opportunities to this community, as well as to the state, revitalizing what has long been known as a very weak economy throughout these years.
Well, it definitely seems like things are turning around for you, but I would like to go back to the past.
What are you talking about?
that led to your
Dimitri
prison
wants all the
And this is
visitors to
full
stand away
disclosure.
from the crew until
It
the
was
end of
at
the
the
interview.
engagement party, it was my engagement party to Adam Chandler that these events took place. So, David, in your own words, explain why you would turn a gun on a defenseless man and shoot him at point-blank range.
First of all, Brooke, J.R. Chandler was hardly a defenseless victim that evening. The fact is, he showed up at that party with a gun in hand, waiting to seek vengeance upon at least one, if not more, of the members of that community in that room. And the fact is also that I used the same gun to shoot him that he was pointing at my daughter just moments before. Now, yes, that was an act that was triggered by the grief, by the shock of a man who had just moments before witnessed his daughter being killed right before his very eyes.
Well, according to the police records, your fingerprints were found on the gun that killed your daughter.
That's because I was struggling with JR to get the gun out of the hands of that drunken psychopath. Now, the fact that in so doing, in trying to save my daughter's life, I helped that monster exact his sick and twisted revenge, well, that is something that I personally will never forgive myself for. Let me ask you something, Brooke. How would you have acted in that moment? I mean, think about it. If a person killed your child right before your very eyes, could you honestly just stand there and do absolutely nothing?
But shooting JR did not bring your daughter back.
No, you're right about that. It didn't. But that doesn't mean that I still don't wish, when I turned the gun on JR that night, that he would have suffered the same fate that my daughter did.